Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Football Cast.
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the American Football Cast. We are back as a unit in our not so secret location. So as ever, I'm joined with first Steve.
Yo,
how are you?
Hi. Sorry, missed my cue there. Trying to juggle two laptops and paperwork. Agents did a super dossier for us this week.
Shh. Illusion.
It's like I actually know something this week. It's great.
I'm back after serving his 1 week suspension as enforced by the commissioner. It's Gav. How are you?
Good to be back. I was going to protest, but then I thought, no, that didn't work out too well for Cap, so I'll just leave it.
Taking a knee outside the building. I ain't coming in today.
What do you mean building?
What building? The building that we record from.
We don't record from a building. What are you talking about?
Secret location, dude. Come on.
It's a 10. It's a 10.
It's a 10. Oh, I fucking hate
How many people do you think have listened to our podcast and switched off after the first 2 minutes of every episode?
Did we get? I don't think we get the stats on that, do we?
No, we don't, because it's only who downloads it.
I did tell everyone last week, because we finally got the intro sorted. Even if you just listen to the first 45 seconds, just hear it out. So I wonder if we've got any boosts on that. I don't know. I haven't actually checked. So if it had it breakdown, it'd be like, right, we had hundreds of people listen to the first 45 seconds and then no one started carrying on after that. Like, oh, well, never mind.
One time we'll get an intro right. One time.
So we're just going to get straight into it.
Why not?
Right, okay.
Time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence. Gaff has a meeting.
And
Patience.
the 10, it's with the people who own the campsite. They might have to vacate him from his spot.
For protesting.
He's just been sat there for a week. Well, not sat there, he's been knelt there for a week.
The shit need to come in and graze. Getting moved on.
Okay, let's go.
So week 4 started on Thursday night with the blockbuster encounter.
Oh my god, what game?
The Vikings at the Rams. 38-31 the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get to see this game, but I watched the highlights, and you always know it's a good game when the highlights last 15 minutes.
Yeah,
full
that's generally
quarter of
the whole
highlights.
game.
A full quarter of highlights. What about Jared Goff? He just looks like he's going on another level.
I think I said it to both you guys in chats, or I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but he almost seems to have just ratcheted up another wee notch. I think he's well entrenched in that second tier of quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
Even before what he did against the Vikings. Now the Vikings D is meant to be heralded, but they are suffering big.
I was going to say that's one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, if anyone had any idea what the hell has gone wrong with the Vikings defense.
So let's speak Goff first. So his stats from the game: he was 26 for 33, 465 yards. I know I've just said that completely wrong. 465 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That is super solid.
I loved every one of his touchdowns. They were all amazing, especially the one to Brandon Cooks, which was right down the middle, which was awesome. And him and Cooper Kupp, is that like the new Brady Edelman? Because they just seem on the exact same wavelength.
Yeah.
There's a play, I don't know if you've seen it, where it's Kupp's, I think it's his second touchdown, where it goes through like the smallest window and Kupp runs like maybe 10-15 yards across the field to get to the end zone.
Just knows the right place to go.
Just knew where to go. It was awesome.
Good,
and it's just like that telepathic sort of connection they've got.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like it's a different guy every week in the passing game.
There's been a different performer in each of their 4 wins so far. So it was Gurley one week, it was Cooks another week, it was
Wood
Cup
had a
this
monster
and
week in week 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they're changing it round, and it's a total. What they always say is pick your poison, type offense. It's like you can't double anyone, and what McVay will do is he'll very quickly scheme at the beginning of a game. He'll be like, right, okay, it's going to be Cup. You're up this week, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going your way because these guys have got no chance now.
How gutted would you be if you were a Rams tight end because you're just not cared about at all?
Who are their tight ends? That's my point.
Nobody knows.
They might get a catch occasionally.
So
they don't really need it in the nicest possible way. So if they've got blocking tight ends in, that all that'll do is help Gurley, and I don't know if they've deliberately got people in to do that. But awesome. They're absolutely on. They're easily the class of the NFC. I think there's
favourites to win the Super Bowl.
I think they've got to be favourites to win the whole thing. You look across at the AFC, and offensively the best team of the Chiefs, defensively the best team of the Jags, but I think they both have questions on the opposite side of the ball with strength. Whereas the Rams just look like a complete unit.
Balanced.
It's
not to say they're going to be unbeatable. The good old thing with the NFL is anyone generally can beat anyone any week, and there's examples this week about it's happened, and you're like, what the hell happened there? So if you catch the Jags offense on a hot day, okay, that's enough. So they're not going to go unbeaten, and I don't think. And you could get like sneaky Carolina have a good day in the playoffs. They're out because the Carolina defense is solid anyway. So
they certainly look the most complete team to me.
I'd agree. And the Vikings, I think everyone was really hot on them before the season started.
First 2 games they were brilliant. And the last 2 they've kind of been, what the hell?
I mean, they only lost by 7 points
in
LA to the Rams.
Was that because the game was already dead though? I think it was.
I think if I was reading right,
because I think the Rams
wrong, they kind of played that containment defense where they'll give you yardage in order to take time off the clock. They weren't like making anything go outside the lines.
Bend not break.
But that's,
which doesn't really suit them though, does it? Because they're quite an aggressive team. Like when you think of like Anthony Barr and Sheldon Richardson,
a lot of that was
players.
from what I read.
I was talking about the Rams. Sorry.
We're talking about the
Vikings. We're talking because we're talking about the Rams.
I think the point still stands though that the Rams defense are aggressive. They are hindered at the moment. I think Peters didn't have a great game.
He wasn't healthy though.
And
Talib's out for 8 weeks maybe.
With that in your secondary, you are going to give up a bit more yardage when both of them are on it. So moving on into Sunday's games, and a bit of a surprise, I suppose, in that the Bengals went into Atlanta and came out with a 37-36
I can't remember the exact stat, but I'm sure it was the first time that the Bengals had beaten the Falcons in like 17 years at the Falcons. Something
probably, cross conference, so you don't play each other very often, which kind of helps make those streaks last a little longer. But it's still a great stat when you go, haven't beat you in 17 years.
So my notes on this game, just a question for both of you: do we think the Bengals could make the playoffs?
Go right back to divisional roundups. I hated the Bengals. I was like, they've got nothing going. They've had the worst off season in the world.
The same.
Why did they bring back Marvin Lewis? Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden they pulled. They pulled out three really solid wins as well.
I think we were touting them for thereabouts for first overall pick, they've got a good chance already.
3-1, and their offense looks like it's like a Rams light, if you will.
And when Mixon comes back, that's just going to help it.
Because Bernard's done well filling in. Mixon, he was looking great, and I think Tyler Boyd's the big surprise for them. I think he's had a really big season so far, and it's making it harder because you've got AJ Green, who, if you try and double coverage, Boyd stepped up enough where you can't ignore him.
And if you try and double coverage him and you blow it like in the very last play of the game,
it was going to beat you anyway. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I think when Green, you have 2 people on him, and they both lose him, not even just a little bit, and the only thing that can happen is the Bengals score a touchdown. they're that close to the goal where all they have to do is just cover him, just be near him, and they're not near him.
Keep him in play to run the clock down because they only had 10 seconds.
It was awful.
If he'd gone down in play, they wouldn't have enough time to put the last
It was
play
so
in.
bad. It was literally one of the worst things I've ever seen. And on the Falcons, that was my thing. I wanted to speak about was we were speaking about like other teams as well, how one side's great and the other side isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is an example of one side's great and the other side's awful.
Did we touch on this last week about the fact
Keanu
that their
Neal,
injuries? Yeah,
Keanu
Deion
Neal,
Jones, Keanu Neal, and
there's another
Ricardo Allen.
That's it, Ricardo Allen.
Three really solid starters, and it just seems to be it's decimated them too much on defense.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
from
give
a jumping just ever so quickly into fantasy land, which I know I don't speak much about compared to you guys, but I would any game the Falcons are going to be in this season, just go with them because they can score all the points in the world, but they're going to give up just as many.
Yeah.
There's going to be points galore every week.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley was another one I thought looked really good. Was it 2 touchdowns he got? I can't remember. I think it was 2.
He's not on the top performers, so
no.
it's not in our stats. ESPN, up your game.
Because this is.
I'm going on NFL. Solid. He definitely got 1. He might have got a second one, but plus he's 3 on last week.
And they're just about to get Devontae Freeman back from injury, the Falcons, so that makes them even more balanced on attack. But again, what does it matter if your defense can't do anything for you?
No.
It's just crazy. Are you going to look at Calvin Ridley, or are we just going to?
It's going to take me too long.
Let's move on. So the next game up, the end of the Fitzmagic show.
My notes on this was, why would they do that? Yes. He's had one bad game against an awesome defense away from home, and he was the scapegoat. I feel that was really.
So anyone who's missed it, the Bucs have announced that Jameis Winston is going to be back in as starter when they come off their bye week in week 6. They went to Chicago and they lost 48-10.
They got a lot of it. It wasn't easy.
I mean, I'm just looking at the top performer stats and they amused me a little bit because the top passer was Mitch Trubisky and the top rusher was Mitch Trubisky.
That really surprised me when I seen that. Did they just not play Howard at all?
I think that they became a really pass-orientated team, and I think
Nagy's turned them into Kansas City.
It's Kansas Mark too, yeah, exactly. And I think,
but when you have 5+ passing touchdowns in the first half, why would you do anything else?
You meant to run the whole second half and bleed the clock. That's what you meant to do. So I was still surprised that he only had the 3 carries for 53 yards. But
I think Howard's maybe there more as a decoy because you can't sleep on him, and if you do, then Trubisky's he's only second year, so he'll still be learning how to read.
19 of 26, 354 yards and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns on 19 completed passes. It's just ludicrous.
Every third pass is a touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely unreal.
I really like the Bears. They're fun to watch because then on the other side you've got Khalil Mack wrecking people.
Oh, he is absolute front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Another sack, another fumble.
He already had the chip on his shoulder.
Game wrecking like nobody's business.
Yeah, he already had the chip on his shoulder when he was in Oakland, and then they just made that chip even bigger by pissing him off, and now he's just destroying everyone.
Yeah.
Just to complete the craziness on these stats, so the top rusher was a quarterback and the top receiver was a running back.
Yeah, annoyingly I traded away Tarek Cohen in fantasy and he's now coming good, so that might come and bite me in the ass over the next few weeks, but c'est la vie.
Yeah, so overall Bears looking pretty good.
Really solid. They're absolutely going to be pushing all the way for division winners.
Yeah, I think that was
not even just the fact that they're getting into the playoffs. They're going to be pushing for winning the division now because they've got their improvement has been that vast on last year.
That division is so stacked.
I think when we were doing that review of that division,
we had them split 2 and 2. We had what order they were in was a little bit different, but we had Bears and the Lions as 3 and 4, and we had absolutely battling out all the way to the end between Packers and Vikings.
Yeah, it's now a 3 and 1 split.
It is. Yeah, poor Lions, they get no love.
On to the Lions.
Good segue, Steve.
Captain Segway.
Captain Segway. I'm not taking that name.
So the Lions lost to the Cowboys, which sums things up.
My notes on this game was Cowboys. The kicker Brett Maher, who's 100% on his last 3 games, so That's pretty good for them.
Yeah.
But overall, they're just bleh.
Yeah.
They're so crap to watch. They're not exciting.
Kerryon Johnson's seems to have helped them.
Talking
which
about
is
the
good.
Cowboys.
Oh, we're talking about the Cowboys. Sorry, I thought
Yeah.
we were talking about the Lions.
Just keep up, Steve.
I mean, Zeke 25 carries for 152 yards, but other than that,
In fact, you know what? You're at. Both these teams are bleh.
they are.
I'm more in favour of the Lions than I am the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
I hate the Cowboys.
I don't. Yeah, they might be America's team, but
it's
over
not.
here, no one really cares.
I'm not
Yeah.
even sure they're
Right down the
America's
bottom
team.
of the
I think.
Yeah,
They're just
they're
Dallas.
just self-proclaimed. From
I mean, they
Gerard-
are.
Gerard
I'm going to
Jones.
make myself really unpopular here with Gav, but they are to America what the old firm are to Scotland.
Probably.
In a lot of
Probably,
people.
to be
There is a big chunk
Nah,
of people
nah.
like them. There is a bigger chunk hate them.
I think that's the Patriots as well. Cowboys and the Patriots, is that the American Rangers and Celtic?
Probably is.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Probably
It's a pretty
is.
good analogy.
Um,
I loved Gold. Is it Gold? It was Golden Tate, isn't it? It's at the Lions now.
Yeah.
And he was just like waving at the
I love it.
at the cornerbacks when he
Oh,
was scoring touchdowns. He was
yeah.
just taking the piss out of them.
But
it was
he
amazing.
did it when the boy was about 3 foot from him and could have probably pushed
It
him
wasn't
out of
like
bounds.
it wasn't like Tyreek Hill last year. He was like there was no chance of
No.
catching him. He was pretty close. He was like absolutely rubbing salt into the window.
I mean,
It was
as he went
great to
over
see.
the line into the end zone, the boy got his hands on him.
It was good fun.
do you think,
yeah.
just one thing on the Lions before we move on, do you think that thing about, like, two teams have now came out and said we knew what they were going to, what plays they were going to call and all that sort of stuff, do you think that's maybe getting in their head a bit? Because they're on 1 and 3.
I would think so. The fact that the Jets, who are arguably not great, and we'll talk about them a little bit later, destroyed them so much in week 1 was an absolute shock, considering how the teams have both gone since then. It possibly is. Yeah, it possibly is. I mean, bear in mind, 14 of their 24 points was in the last quarter as well. You know, they had by the end of the third quarter, they were getting.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
they were
soundly
desperate.
beaten, but yeah, the gap was. It was 2 scores.
So yeah, I think it's maybe getting in their head a bit.
On to the Packers 22, Bills 0. I think it just proves that week 3 was a huge blip
What?
for the Bills.
What a weird team.
Yeah.
So
So they're now back bottom of the power rankings.
I was going to say, if you were going to, your team finally has come off the bottom of the power rankings. Yeah.
It's just, I feel really sorry for Josh Allen. Like, he's got nothing. Like, when he goes out there,
He has.
The Whitey core is just poor.
not even that, the offensive line's crap.
Yep.
So Josh Allen has more rushing yards than LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen that
What
one.
chance
as
has
well.
he
got? That is stinking.
And
The
yeah,
defense is so. Just.
yeah.
I can't. There's not much good I can say about them at all.
Can you even take any good from the Packers for this? I mean,
Well, I
yeah,
was gonna say-
it's a 22. It's a shutout. It's a shutout which you will take every week against a team who scored 30 odd points against what's meant to be a very good D last week.
So I think after the game, Aaron Rodgers came out and said that the offense was not acceptable. One, I really like that because I think he's got standards that he doesn't
Yeah.
let drop.
Yeah.
So regardless of having a win and a shutout, he said it wasn't good enough. It is weird though. It's hard to really put your finger on what's wrong with him. So yeah, I don't really know.
They're still going to be in the mix by the end of the season. I think. I think Rodgers is that good himself. He's going to get them there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their concern is that, like last year, Rodgers goes down.
Yeah.
And when Rodgers goes down, Green Bay's season is over.
He did. His knee seemed to be a lot better though this
Yeah.
week. I think this is
Yeah.
the first week where he's been still not quite as good as week 1, but
Just look pretty free.
yeah, I think yeah.
And yeah, just one, I guess, for the Packers as well. For them to get a shutout, considering how bad their defense is, they got 7 sacks.
And 3 interceptions.
7 sacks, yeah. So
Or
that's
something, yeah.
crazy.
Fantasy point wise, that is pretty much the reason I got
Yeah.
beat was because the opposing defense got 24 bloody points. Jesus.
Yeah, so
That was in the other league, the fake league.
We don't talk about fantasy on this
Oh, do we not?
podcast. Moving on, right, another upset, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Titans 26, Eagles 23.
so this was really weird, and the one note I had in the Eagles is this their Super Bowl hangover.
I was about to say the very same thing.
Yeah.
So they're 2-2. It's 0-2 away from home and 2-0 at home.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be clicking for them on either side of the field, really.
Something's not quite 100% on last year. I would say it's probably more on the defence than the offence. Last year the offence was hot, but the defence were swarming like nobody's business. This year, Schwartz, for whatever reason, he hasn't got his guys playing just quite at the same level. And I think that's what's costing them.
Yes, it's a weird one, especially I think maybe it's a little bit of Wentz is maybe scared a little bit in the offence as well, coming back from a big injury. Still had a good stat line, but just is he playing, freely?
Maybe not quite, but that'll improve as the season goes on. His improvement already from week 3 to 4 was true. Like, if he's already feeling better.
Like double, wasn't it?
Yeah, so if he goes the same again and next week he's all of a sudden balling and he's got 4 touchdowns and whatever, he's back to where he was. So.
Yeah. Are the Titans contenders?
I had them as division winners, if I remember rightly, and got laughed at.
I think you did, and I probably did laugh at you because I think I had that.
It's still a crazy prediction. I think it was more just me being annoying than anything else.
Who would have thunk that?
Yeah, but I think so. Mariota he's in the same boat as Wentz. He's on his recovery from his injury. Yeah. He's not 100% himself yet either. And when he gets
underrated defense, very underrated widey core. Yeah. I gave them no love, and actually they're playing really good. Mario is absolutely fine. He is definitely franchise level for running your team. Yeah. So
especially one of the big things about Mariota was that he was mobile. So when he loosens up, further into the season, does that make them even harder to beat? Because he's still pretty much just sitting behind the defensive line. Yeah.
Well, they have no running game outside him, really. Derrick Henry yet again is throwing an absolute
He looks like
stinker.
A bust, doesn't he?
There was a picture I seen on Twitter, and there was 4 running backs from Alabama. It was Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Kerryon Johnson, and I forget what the 4th one was. It was really annoying because I wish I'd remembered that. And it was like, who would have thought out of this group Derrick Henry was going to be the worst of the 4? It was just unreal.
Yeah, I think he looks really close to just being like, okay, let's move on.
Cut him a run. He's had 3 ho-hum seasons and he won the Heisman Trophy, didn't he? So he should have. But you always get these weird people that just excel at college and they just can't make it to the next level. And it looks like we're going to add him to the list.
It's a different game.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You don't know what it is. Something's just not working for him. Whether it's team, whether he gets another. He might be one of these sneaky ones that goes away, he gets another chance, and he comes back. Look at what Mark Ingram. He had kind of 3 really ho-hum seasons, and then it clicked.
Yeah, that's right. I think one of the big things for the Titans was their full coaching staff looks like it's on point. So
that's why you called them to win, because of Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator.
I remember you saying this now. And I gave Vrabel no love. I love him as a player because it's like this horrible thing that I'm getting so old now. Players are now coaches, but he seems to have got
when coaches are the age of Sean McVay, you're going to get there.
If they're trending younger,
So it looks like it, and I think the defensive coordinator for the Titans is a guy called Dean Pease.
Yes.
Yeah, and he looks like he's got them firing as well because they are tough. Titans look good.
Next up, the Texans going into Indianapolis and beating the Colts in overtime. Another overtime game.
So many overtimes just now, isn't it?
Well, in fact, we've had 2 overtime draws, which is almost unheard of in a season, and we had them already by week 2.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we've had a couple of games this week on overtime.
Yeah, we'll get to another one. There's been overtime every week. The Texans beating the Colts. It was 6-3 in overtime actually because they both got field goals on the first drive. And they kept going.
Not often we see that. It was also in Eagles and Titans, strangely enough, but very rare that you get that. It's normally one team scores and that's it. You sneak the win.
Yeah. Is this the year where we've seen? So I think when I listened back to last week's podcast, you said it a couple of times, Andrew, where you said defense wins championships. Has the NFL changed now where it's now going to be offense wins championships because nobody seems to want to play defense anymore?
Is this not how it often goes? So the start of the season, your offenses are balling, and then the weather turns, and it's harder to keep a hold of the ball because it's wet and it's cold.
There's no
so that's why offense wins you games, but defense wins you championships, because we'll get to the end of the year and it'll come down to the defenses.
I just think that last year maybe the Eagles change that because they were still an offensive team, but they were good on both sides. But
Yeah.
it was just a question. I thought when I looked at all the scores, I was like, oh my god, how many points is that?
There's the stat that just came out on NFL that this is the most amount of touchdowns scored through the first 4 weeks of the season, and by a comfy margin as well. It's like 228 touchdowns have been scored. The next best season was only just over 200, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago.
It's crazy.
The last 2 years don't even make the top 7 or 8. For whatever reason, 2016, 2017 were just slow starters. This year, every team is just kicking off from point one. So. I could argue it's the standard of quarterback play. I think as a group, if you were to take this year's starting quarterbacks against any year from the last 5 or 6, the quality is far better now than it has been.
Yeah.
A lot of the rookies have hit, like Wentz and Goff. They're well in. All the vets that were there before aren't regressing too much. So overall, the quality of quarterback play is so much better.
The top pitch like Tyrod Taylor have just been flushed out.
He's not biting his face.
No,
He's going to get sensible. He's having that week off, having that bye
Yep,
week.
that's fine.
So yeah, on quarterbacks, and while we're still on the Texans, Deshaun Watson
Done crazy amount of yards and crazy amount of touchdowns again.
Not quite back to where he was, but it looks like it's the beginning.
I
He's
think-
trained it up the last few weeks, and he seems to be.
Again, it seems to be like, so Watson last year, he was very mobile, and it looks like these big injuries, it's the mobility that's scaring these players.
Yeah,
you don't want to re-injure it. It makes total sense.
So
You understand
I think
why.
and he's got a huge arm. He can still throw absolute bombs.
Yeah.
And especially when you've got Nick Hopkins on one side and Fuller on the other.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And they had, who was their third receiver? QT. Is that his name? Coutee, that his surname.
I don't know.
Yeah, I forget.
He
what
had
his
a
first
very
name.
good game.
Yeah.
I don't have his stats,
numbers,
but he had
but you're
a good
He
game
was in the mix
as
as well, which helps.
He was, when I was looking at the NFL sort of waiver wire. Kiki Kuti, yeah, something like that, yeah.
What an awesome
What a
name.
name.
Yeah.
I love NFL for names.
Yeah.
It's just mental.
He was one of their waiver wire pickups on the NFL site that I was looking through and things.
Yeah, he's training up, and that gives him an
it-
extra piece. That's a good start.
That's just three
It's their
three
O-line.
options through the air.
I wanted to put this out there for this game, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry?
Both these teams have got the same record of 1-3. What one looks better?
I don't know. It's a weird one. I think they've both played actually quite well.
Yeah,
even though the record suggests they haven't.
I would put the Texans ahead of the Colts, I think.
Right, throwing it out here, I'd have both these teams thinking. I think they play better than the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are 3-1.
Mm-hmm. See,
Random way stats work, but
I think that the Colts look better. Well, I know they got beaten this game,
their
but
defense is playing a lot better than having a few years, which is good.
Again, this is another team I think we had low expectations for.
It's because we didn't know how Luck was going to bounce back, and he actually seems to be okay.
And again, I think
he was 40 from 62, 464 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's huge numbers.
Why? Yeah,
it's
easily
crazy. And they've got a shit O-line as well. So when you put that into consideration,
T.Y. Hilton, he did get injured.
He went off and came back.
Or did he come back? I was going to say he looks better than he has in a couple of years as well.
And the
maybe 2 years
running backs that they drafted, which was quite a weird strategy to draft 2 running backs from the same year, and I think they were only a couple of rounds apart. They look good. That Naheem Hines,
yes.
Who's the other one? I can't remember his name, but they look like, because they played a lot of the 2 running backs and they just dunked it off, which makes Luck's life so much easier. Because their rushing stats aren't great, but they're both receiving running backs. So
a couple of good additions in defense. Darius Leonard,
oh my god, he looks like a
kicking out of the park as a rookie, which is great. But Margus Hunt, who they swiped off the Bengals, he seems to have found a new lease of life as well, and he's flying in sacks left, right, and centre.
I think when I seen this game, someone said it was Darius Leonard has made Hunt relevant again, because the teams are trying to stop Leonard, but they can't
get him as well. So it's helped. Yeah.
So it's good. It's an interesting one. We'll see how these teams end up in this season.
Final thought on Colts and Texans. JJ Watt, my man, got another 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. It's only 2 weeks. I'm not going to quite say he's turned the corner yet, but if he does the same for the next couple of weeks, you can basically put the last 2 years to bed.
It's weird. The thing I was thinking about the Texans is, when you look at their defense, it's awesome, but they're playing so bad. Like the amount.
Kleiny's too hit and miss for first overall pick. Whitney Merciless doesn't seem to have worked his way back. The linebacker, of course, regressed. Losing Brian Cushing.
Yeah.
I used to love Brian Cushing. Yeah. Just total enforcer, mental case.
He was like the leader as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, kind of G'd up the defense. They've not really quite. They've replaced him. They've lost him on the back end. Johnson, I think, got a concussion.
Kevin Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, so he's out for the season. So yeah. They're kind of. Well, it's what it is.
We'll see. So from 1-3.
So 1-3 to 3-1 or 2-2 if you're the New England Patriots.
My notes on this was: are the Patriots trying to copy the model of the Saints? And what I mean by that was James White and Sonny Michel both had incredible games. Both had touchdowns. Both had massive yards.
Yeah, I've just acquired White in fantasy.
I don't know what Donny was thinking. That was a weird one.
Yeah, that he offered me that.
That was weird.
That wasn't me trying to give away Austin Eckler for
James White. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of James White, but he looks like he's taking that Dion Lewis role. He's a pass catching.
I saw that trade this morning and thought, what?
Yes,
take it. Yeah, accept it before he realises what he's done.
Yeah.
Right. So the one question that's come out of this that was posed not by me, but I've read it and I actually quite like it. Was it a byproduct of just the best game plan against the Dolphins was half the battle, i.e. they changed it to this run heavy. I would argue that copy the Saints thing because that was how you were going to beat the Dolphins no matter what. Because they dominated them. This is the most one-sided games I've ever seen in a long while.
I'm not sure I would agree that in my head anyway. Obviously, Bill Belichick knows better than me. Who knew? But,
how dare you know?
But I would have thought that why would you want to run into like Cameron Wake and Kiko Alonso up front? Why would you want to do that? That wouldn't seem like the right strategy to me on paper.
No, I'm with you on that.
Especially with a rookie running back and James White's mostly a pass catching running back.
He obviously found something that he could exploit, and it worked well. And that then obviously opened up Brady. And I think Brady was the comfiest he's been in a long while as well, by the looks of things. Not that he's got his widey core completely sorted. Gordon definitely looks like he's going to help. He was only targeted twice, but he caught both of them. Cordell Patterson got that 55-yarder out the back end, which was a blown coverage more than Patterson being good because I don't rate him at all.
Edelman's back
and
this week.
Edelman back next week, so yeah.
It's funny how
Dorsett actually he's been streaky. He's been up and down, but did you see that cool little touchdown catch where he had the flip?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think the only other thing I want to say about the Patriots is it's weird how Gronk isn't a thing. They just don't seem to.
Well, he was injured in this game and bowed out in the third quarter, I think it was, or something.
Even then, I just mean in the season, like we've not spoken about him.
He's not been the absolute dominating force that he has been in previous years.
And again,
does he retire at the end of this year?
I think
he's been toying with it for years. Yeah. I think the last 2 off seasons he's been
got so many concussions, isn't he? Was it concussions?
And injuries. Yeah,
and
he's earned enough money. He doesn't need to, and he's one of these mental guys where like. These shows in America that follow celebs, Channel E basically, whatever it is, they were probably going to snap him up for some kind of Gronk goes wild, because he'd go down to Cancun for flipping summer break and lord it up with all the students because he's just kind of guy. Yeah, I would watch it.
One other final thing on the Dolphins I thought I would share. It was a fun stat I heard. Ryan Tannehill before this game, his last 11 games, he was 10-1. Wins.
Wow. Before this game,
obviously he was injured for a long time. 10-1.
So that means before they basically ran the table the season 2 years ago, didn't they?
So yeah,
they got really hot at the end of the year.
It's just funny though. Like again, I wouldn't think Ryan Tannehill would have had that in him.
What was there also? He only had 90 yards in the third quarter, and I don't know if he broke the 100, it was low hundreds because they put Osweiler in 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, they didn't have a good.
They just didn't bother playing him. Didn't Sonny Michel have more offensive yards himself than the whole Dolphins team before the tail end of the game, where it didn't really matter as well? It's just I thought it was very one-sided. But.
Yeah, it was.
So moving on from that. I don't even know how to sum that up.
Fuck the Patriots.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, fuck the Patriots. We can all get on board with that. Jaguars and Jets.
Who do we want to talk about first here?
Well, the good or the bad.
Let's go bad.
So we'll talk about the Jets.
I was hoping you were going to say Jags. Just kidding. So the Jets, I wrote down in my notes that Sam Darnold is just the same as Josh Allen. He's got no support. Quincy Enunwa is his best wide receiver, and I think for every other team, Enunwa's a WR3.
Yeah.
At best.
Robbie Anderson has not produced the same as what he did last year. So whether it's just because he's injured or scheme or what, I don't know. But if he doesn't...
What's their head coach called again? I can't remember. He's had more lives than like anyone else ever.
I cannot drag it out of the depths of my brain. I'll probably remember later. We'll be talking about Game 3 games. I'm like, that's his name.
Yeah.
I can see him standing on the sideline with a sort of face on him, like as if to say, how have I managed to last 5 years here? I have no idea what's going on.
And it seems to be like every year he gets away with drafting a new quarterback, and then that doesn't work.
Well, Hackenberg one is just stinking. The fact how he's survived that on its own is unreal. I'm going to draft someone in the second round. He's never going to see the field. I'm eventually going to get rid of him, and I'm going to just sweep it under the carpet as if it wasn't my pick.
Yeah. But they've got nothing going for them, and I think the only good thing they've got is their secondary, but they've
got next year. That's what they've got. When
there's always next year.
Yeah, they're going to be kicking around the top 5 picks next season easy in the draft, so they'll get someone else to help if there's a Barkley-esque type running back. Grab him next year, and you've got your 1-2 punch at quarterback and running back, and that might help set you up going forward. Poor Jets. I always feel sorry for them because of Hammy. Like it's kind of I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Jets, and have had for years. But
Interesting. I was reading the power rankings this morning, and there's a distinct correlation between those that are now playing their rookie quarterbacks and where they sit within the power rankings. So the Jets are the Browns are at about 26. No, higher than that, 22. The Jets are at 30, the Cardinals are at 31, and the Bills are at 32.
Steve, would you like to
enlighten us with the Jets?
I've had to Google it because it's annoying me so much. It's Todd Bolt.
He literally has so many lives, it's ridiculous.
It's like a cat.
There's a bowl full of them.
That might be the worst joke in this podcast yet. As in the series of all of them, and that's taking some doing because I laid a stinker about 5 episodes ago. Proudly take my dad joke with me.
Speaking of stinkers, Blake Bortles.
Talk about streaky players. Like he is so hot and cold, it's ridiculous. I mean, they said actually in the opposite. I think we might have said in division as well. He is single-handedly will get them to the Super Bowl or sink the ship. It's so. I've got 21 good players on a team, and the 22nd one just happens to be the quarterback, which is the one I really need to behave, and he is so up and down, I have no idea what I'm getting. Because like last week against the Titans, and it was like they couldn't score a touchdown. It was, what was it, 9-6?
Yeah.
You know, with that defence, and then this week it's 31-12, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, is he a guy that gets good when it matters?
I put down in my notes that...
I'm interested. Yeah, because actually his playoff run was pretty solid last
I've got my notes as Blake Bortles, he gets a rough ride, but he seems to win a lot.
So he does enough to get by. I mean, a lot of that is his defence just gives him the opportunity to win when they're not on it. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the tail end of last year, he was very, very good.
Where would you put him in terms of, like, in the quarterback skills?
Oh, Steve will have him at about 7 and then at about 35.
I was waiting after Jameis Winston is easily in the middle of the pack. No, he's like third ball.
Steve's got him in the Canadian Football League.
Bortles is pretty close. He's like, if you take the rookies out of the equation, because I don't think you can count them yet. Him and Winston are sitting down the bottom with Eli Manning. Who else is?
But when he's hot, he's hot.
When he's hot, Jesse.
Would you?
When he's hot, I'd put him next to Ryan Tannehill.
I'd put him higher than that when he's on it.
You know, Andy Dalton.
I would as well. I'm with you, Andrew.
I think when he's on it, he's like top 10.
Well, I know nothing anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You're right that when he's not on it, he's down with Winston.
Oh, he's right at the
bottom. In fact, this was the other thing I wanted to... I can't remember the exact stat, but I seen it on NFL. It was about the Jags and Bortles when Fournette plays. They're actually we're going through an IT crisis. Steve's laptop's trying to restart.
I postponed it. We might get away with it. I think this is what I did the last time, though.
Yeah.
Why? It's not even connected to the internet. Why am I getting an update? Right, doesn't matter. Right.
It's a ghost in the machine. So the Bortles thing I've seen was they're actually worse when Fournette's in the team.
Well, yeah. Actually,
which is quite crazy. You wouldn't think that, but like the win record when Fournette plays versus when he doesn't.
I don't think he's played enough games fully healthy. I think that's half the problem. You need to give him a few weeks off, make sure he's properly right, and then bring him back.
Is he going to be?
Yeldon looks like he's all right.
Yeah, but I mean, he had a whole off season and he's still.
I was just going to say, is he just going to be one of these players that's going to be
dodgy hamstrings,
injured for 4 seasons, and
hamstring?
Then see you later.
Hamstring. If you're an explosive player, you can't have that injury. You can have like whatever else, but a hamstring, as soon as you try and do a big run or whatever, that's you gone.
Yeah, particularly, I mean, when obviously these games last 3 hours, they're stopping, so they're cold, and then when you're trying to sprint and your hamstrings are dodgy after being sat cold for 10-15 minutes, they're just going to pop.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Jags, do we think so? They're 3-1. Do we still think so? It's them and the Titans are both 3-1.
I still think they'll pip them just to the division.
Yeah.
And they'll get in, but no idea how they're going to do in the playoffs. That's the thing. They come up against Kansas City, and at the minute you're looking like Kansas City's winning that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think my voice stopped working. My head stopped.
Okay, let's just move on.
No, I think come what may, it'll be the Chiefs and Jags.
Yeah, I think so.
In the
AFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They play each other in a couple of weeks. Is that the Mexico City game this year? Is that what I was reading? Doesn't matter.
Don't know,
I'll come back to that.
Our next overtime game, the Browns and the Raiders.
Another one.
And another one. And actually another one for the Browns. Their games have all been so close. They on another. I mean, if they were better, they could be 4-0.
I'm
a really obvious thing.
I know
there.
that sounds like a really obvious.
It's kind of obvious. I said like,
but
really
you know what
bad.
I mean.
Anyway,
in that they are there every week. If
they
they
were
were
a field goal away from the win when they cut Gonzalez because he left 11 points in the field. They should have won that game.
Yep.
Kick it away.
Should have
Can I
won
quickly
the tie.
interrupt just on that kicker point? I read a thing that Zane Gonzalez beat Brett Maher, who is the Cowboys kicker, who's 100% to the Browns job. So imagine they had a kicker that could kick field goals at the start of the season, and they had one and said no.
Yeah, so they've had 2 overtime games.
They should have won it.
So they kicked for the win against the Steelers. They kicked for the win against the Saints. And overtime in this one, they should have won this game as well because they were miles ahead.
My sympathy for the Browns is slowly dwindling, and the only reason for that is like not Tyrod Taylor, surprisingly, but I'm actually now at a point where I am sick of watching them blow games. Like it's not even like they're fighting back to get back into it. They're winning games and losing them.
Yes, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So if this team had the clutch gene, as they like to say, they would be 4-0.
I don't know. I'm just a bit.
I'm gonna throw this question in. It's something I've not researched, but I was intrigued. What was the last team to score 42 points and lose?
The Steelers was 38.
I'm thinking possibly that Denver Cowboys game from the beginning of. There was Manning threw 7 touchdowns and Romo was basically matching him. Scored about 5 or 6 from week 2 a couple of years back. Might have been close, but 42 points and you lose.
It just
harsh.
Do you know the one other thing that I took away from this, which was quite funny, was Mayfield had 4 turnovers, and
no one's calling for him or no one's slating him. Everyone's saying actually he did a decent performance. Is that where you were going with this?
Yeah.
Really interesting whether it's the first overall pick or was it the fact that he seemed to, what they talk about or what I was reading about is the way he carried himself even though he wasn't doing great. Just that persona of don't worry, I've got this, boys.
How'd that work out for him?
The writers were like, do you know what, it doesn't matter, this guy's got it, it's all good.
It's just funny because I think people tend to, again, it's a rookie QB, I get all that stuff, but He was winning the game, he had 4 turnovers, they lost the game. Taylor done that against the Saints with 2 turnovers, and people were calling for his head straight away. So I just find it's funny, the mindset, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just funny how it flips.
Yeah. But I mean, they think he's their guy, so they're willing to give him that.
Yeah.
No, it's not about that. It's more like the media thing I was meaning. Like, nobody is saying anything about it. Nobody seems to bat an eyelid. It's like, it's cool.
Other than Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan.
Hey ho, that's what it is. The Raiders finally get a win. What was it? John Gruden. John Gruden said it was.
Felt like it was first win in 100 years.
Yeah.
Wasn't far off. First and 10.
Yeah. They looked pretty good though, on offense anyway.
They have.
I think, did we not say that, if not last week, 2 weeks ago, is that they're so close to just falling away at the last bit. They're actually competing. They're not horrendous. So Gruden has got them kind of playing. They're probably a little bit on the unlucky side, but it doesn't really come down to luck, really.
Yeah, because Carr, Lynch, and Cooper all had really good games, and so did Jared Cook. I think he had a couple of touchdowns as well.
Cook's really found a bit of form this year. Oh dear, I'm dying. Under not Gruden's offense, but
the scheme that they've got.
Yeah, the scheme they've got seems to suit him really well. He's doing really good as well.
Yeah, so
yeah, Raiders win, and Browns are just very Browns.
Browns.
Sick of them.
I'm
no longer rooting for them.
They hibsed it, to give it a Scottish football analogy. That is clutching defeat from the jaws of victory.
What they've excelled at over the last few years.
The next one.
You don't want to talk about it.
You're right, I don't. Right, Seahawks 20, Cardinals 17.
You nearly managed it. You nearly managed your first win of the season.
0-4.
I'm going to put out there the Cardinals suck.
I'm going to put it out there that the Cardinals play calling sucks.
So the Cardinals suck.
Yes, but that lies at the door of the coaches rather than the players at the moment, I think.
There was a tweet I seen in it, and it was probably quite right. The same offense has been play calling Rosen as it was play calling Bradford. So if everyone's going like, oh my god, they should have had Rosen in earlier, and he's so much better than Bradford, but at the end of the day, if it's all about the play calling, why was one quarterback 99 million times better than the other?
I don't think know. He isn't. We're still losing.
Well, yeah, I know, but
yeah, Rosen looks.
Well, they were saying
he looks alright.
What the guy was trying to do is partly defend the coaching, which I know is not where you're coming from, and you're
it's not.
You're pretty good.
Lost 3 games at home.
Yeah, it's
oh dear.
It's bleak at best.
Really
first overall pick.
It's
first
coming.
or second.
Them are the Bills. Yeah. Gotta get a high pick.
I feel
nice offensive lineman to help Johnson and
that's what I was going to speak about.
Or 7.
Their offense.
One in every round.
On paper, though, I'm sure the actual rounds that the Cardinals offensive linemen were drafting were all pretty high.
Well, we've got Mikey Patty and
first rounder.
There's a few first rounders
Q
in there
as well. Who I was reading at one point they were both top 10 offensive linemen in the league, arguably.
Yeah.
And look at that, it's pish.
Yeah. I've got down here that Mike McCoy is the first coach to get sacked, to be let go. So he's the defensive coordinator, and I think he'll be the first one to go.
I cannot disagree with that.
When's your bye week? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't.
No, because normally that's when they make changes to be bye week, so you've got some time to still something. Cards over in the UK this year?
No.
No. Seahawks are there next week or something.
Yes.
Speaking of the Seahawks, did anyone see Earl Thomas's middle finger as a
I loved it.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for that guy. To the extent that you can feel sorry for a millionaire. No, I totally get he's been looking for his contract for forever. They haven't given him it. They look like they might trade him at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't the
He'd
Chiefs
get his money?
Yeah, Chiefs came out and said they were trying
close,
to figure out how they could do it.
And then he breaks his leg.
And that's him. No team's going to trade for him. He'll hit free agency next year, but he ain't going to get the same level. He's going to get an alright contract, but he's
a 30-year-old coming off a broken leg. He's not going to get the same money.
It is only a fracture rather than a full break, so it's not.
A fracture is a break.
Too bad. No, it's not. Right. We're not
going to the doctor.
God, yes, I know. It's going to get all technical there.
So the Seahawks. The one thing I was going to say about them, it looks like they're finding a little bit of resilience to start winning, because I think they're another team that we had little to no hope for, and I still don't think they've got much of a run game. I still don't think their offensive line is that great.
Uh,
One of my notes on their run game was, so I think last week Chris Carson went for 100 yards, this week Mike Davis goes for 100 yards, and they've still not had to call upon Rashard Penny, who they drafted in the second round. So
that's maybe why I'm thinking their run game's that crap though, because it should be Penny because of it.
Should it though? If guys are getting 100-yard games.
No, don't get me. That's good. I mean, if Mike Davis comes out and he keeps going the way he's going, then he's your running back one. You put him in there, he helps Wilson out, and actually that's going to help out the Whiteys and your overall offense.
Yeah, we know that Pete Carroll's he's the best guy he plays. He doesn't go by namesakes or anything like that. So. God damn you and your laptop, Steve.
It's alright, I'll keep postponing it. We don't have to have an emergency 20 minutes break and restart.
Quickly, Seahawks, 3 of the first games were on the road. To come away actually 2-2.
It's not bad,
is right, isn't it? Yeah. Moving on, Giants home to the Saints. They lost 18-33. Kamara
18-53.
Yeah, Kamara 19 carries, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns.
It was the Alvin Kamara show, wasn't it?
It's me.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara does Alvin Kamara things.
Yeah. And then now he's about to get his buddy back.
It's all pointing the right way for the Saints. I think they've got away with a couple of real squeaky games to start the season, but they've if that's them finding form now and they're going to keep trundling along like this, then
guess whose team is lucky enough to face Kamara and Ingram this week? Must be mine.
Oh, the Redskins.
Yeah, we're awful against the run. We've started to get a little bit better, but we are awful against the run historically. And Ingram's back, brilliant.
Will they be as good as they were last year?
I think so.
The Saints.
Just
the pair.
Ingram and Kamara.
I think so.
I know why you're asking that question, and I get it's not going to be. It'll take them a few weeks to get going. I think Ingram's going to have to work himself back in.
See if we were,
but come December, you might be sitting here going, by Christ, look at these two going at it yet again, and they're hitting the playoffs and everything's kicking off and it's all good.
I think if you look at it last year, I don't think they started Ingram and Kamara at the start of last season together.
Well, they were in London, they played the Dolphins at Wembley.
Oh yeah, that was
and that was kind of the first inkling you got that Kamara was going to do something.
Thinks.
Yeah. Because of course last year they started with the running back by committee because they had Peterson as well, and it wasn't until they sort of traded him away and he came out of the picture that they really exploded as a pair.
So realistically, if you look at it based on last year's data, so you're talking maybe week 5 or 6 before they started to play that model anyway. So we're now about to hit week 5.
Got to repeat the same thing.
And Ingram's fresh. I know he's been. You need the game time to actually get used to playing again and that, but I think it's a good thing for the Saints. On the Giants, I put down that Eli Manning is holding them back.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean that's been the case for a few years now, isn't it?
And why have they not drafted a QB yet?
Well, then last week he then throws for 93% completion, and you're like,
they're 1-3 and he's shit. Well, it's just
if he's only turning up one every 4 weeks, then
that's all he's got in his arms, 25%.
So you can't win it with Barkley. Offensive line's probably not good enough to deal with it. They seem to be suffering at that point.
Yeah. Sterling Shepard looked alright.
Their wide receivers are good. Yeah. And they've got the other Shepard as well.
Ingram's out injured,
Russell
which is kind of the two
looks,
Shepards.
Yeah.
I seen when they came on the field and it confused me because the Shepard 81, Shepard 87. I'm like,
I wonder if that they took him just to fuck with teams. If teams are like, right, you're covering Shepard.
Which one's pitch again? Which one? Just give me a number, god damn it.
Right, let's rattle through the next couple of games before we get to the last one. The Niners and Chargers, 27-29. Close game. Anything really?
The only thing I thought is they can be pleased with CJ Beathard's performance. I didn't give him that 200.
I don't think anyone gave him much love, thinking as soon as Jimmy G was gone, that's it, season's over, game over, start for next season.
298 and 2 touchdowns. George Kittle got one of them, who I really like.
You might have mentioned that.
I think so.
A few times. You got him in fantasy?
No, I've been trying to trade for him. Amy. So Kittle got 125 yards and a touchdown against the Chargers defense, which is pretty good.
The Chargers defense minus Joey Bosa. I'm going to put that caveat in because they seem to be
they're not the same. They're not the same
without him. Last year they were absolutely causing havoc. You thought this year was going to be better because they had Derwin James adding at the mix.
He looks good.
Look like he might get defensive rookie of the year at the minute.
He looks really good.
Don't know who else is going to beat him out. Possibly Leonard at the Colts if he keeps going his rate, but they should have been better. Bosa just seems to have really caused a massive.
Is James safety or cornerback? Is he a safety? I want to say
safety. Yes.
Because he reminds me a lot of Cam Chancellor in his prime.
Yeah.
That's what I see, like comparison wise. Because when he comes forward in the box, he smashes people.
I like players like that. that's what's going to go in the next 2 seasons. Or the way they keep changing the rules.
Yeah, it's funny again.
It's as well giving them flags.
That's what somebody said. Did you read that article? You'd be as well just putting 2 flags in the quarterback, and then when they pull one off, that counts as a sack. They don't even need to touch them anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
One final thing I want to say in this game is, so the 49ers are 1-3, and again, just when we're talking about records, it's funny how 1-3 for some teams, nobody talks about 1-3 for other teams. Everyone's like, what the hell's going on there? It's just funny how
it's expectations though. So I mean, so that there's now, because Jimmy G's out, I don't think there's any expectation on the 49ers to do anything.
Nah. I almost feel they'll think getting 5 or 6 wins will be almost a successful season now. It's still going to be top of the pack for pick next year.
But even then, I think before Jimmy G went down,
losing Jerry McKinnon.
I don't know. I feel like they don't seem to be getting any attention. And I don't know.
A lot of teams are like that though.
Probably, yeah.
Play under the
Kyle Shanahan will like that.
Yeah.
Oh, aye, absolutely.
He's safe anyway.
They focus on everyone else.
Another sneaky good team, actually, the Ravens. So
I watched
26-14 win in Pittsburgh.
I watched most of this game, and something that's amazing that probably doesn't get shown that much in the highlights. But what they do is they actually bring in Lamar Jackson for snaps.
Yeah, they've been doing this all.
It is awesome to watch because you just see the defenses are like, what the fuck's going on here? What do I do?
There's 2 quarterbacks on the field.
Because
what the fuck?
there was one play specifically where it was like Lamar Jackson was lined up under centre and they pushed Joe Flacco out to wide receivers, and you just see the Steelers defenses like they're all screaming at each other. They didn't know what to do, and
they've used that really well. So I noticed that in week 1 that they were doing that.
It looks awesome, and teams don't know how to defend it because Lamar Jackson, I can't remember what the yards were over the top of his head, but he had something stupid. I think he had like more yards running than Zeke did in college. In comparison, I think you're right. It's something crazy like that. So they can't. Like, how do you stop that?
Yeah,
because
you have to account for him. It's like,
will we see other teams starting to use 2 quarterbacks?
Bears did it. Bears brought. Bears had Trubinsky and Jace Daniel on. Yeah, when he did the quick shuffle pass to Thorn for the touchdown. And it was the same problem. They weren't too sure who was going to get the snap or what was happening. So
it's awesome to watch.
Confusion.
It really is awesome to watch.
Definitely a gadget play. It's something you only deploy once or twice. It's a rare thing you would do.
Well, the Ravens use it quite a lot. Like Jackson, I can't remember the number of snaps, but it was more than like 1 or 2. He was out there, and they like subbed Flacco out for some plays as well.
Okay.
And they were actually talking about how.
So they're almost using it as a 1-2 punch, like as a not quite
1-2, but.
Yeah, it's enough of a game you're going to have to scheme for it if he comes on the field because you know he's going to.
Steelers 1-2-1 record.
Stinking.
I've put as a question, will they make the playoffs?
Not with the defence playing the way they are at the minute. I think they're losing too much points in the back end. Anyone can score against them. I can't remember who
Bell has to report by week 10 for week 11. Is that right? So.
Do they get desperate? Is this playing into his hands?
I think so.
Although they've said that they're still actively trying to shop him.
Yeah, I can't see them bringing him back. I think they've got so entrenched into the standoff that the Steelers feel that they can't go back.
It's almost
and bring
moral
him in.
now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're playing the Falcons this week. Shootout. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Did you see Big Ben say that he wasn't on the same page as anyone?
Yeah.
He's fucked. He's gone crazy.
Yeah, last year he was like, I haven't got it anymore, and then he signed for another 3 years, and then this year it's
so
like,
done.
I have no idea what I'm doing with anybody on my team.
I'm not on the same page as anyone. So that's offensive coordinators, that's my head coach, that's my players, that's Antonio Brown. Eek.
Yes. And the final game of the week, and I suppose we saved the best to last in terms of what we want to talk about. Mr. Mahomes.
Oh my god. Please tell me you have seen the left-handed throw he does.
Yes. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Ludicrous.
So good.
Are you fanboying over Mahomes more than Rodgers these days? No, okay.
I think I
You're close.
cannot fanboy over Mahomes. I mean, he is.
Yeah,
I'm
fanboying.
should be your quarterback, though.
That makes me cry a little. However, I mean,
you don't know what Rosen will be. So.
No, I actually think Rosen will be the best out of the quarterbacks that were drafted this year. I think he'll have the best career.
Could be, we both said that, I think.
I don't. But anyway, that's a different topic. But yeah, Mahomes just looks insane. He is fucking
something else.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching him play. There was a picture of him on Twitter, and it was like, this is his face on a 3rd and 10 points behind it, and he just got this big smile on his face.
Yeah.
You know, and he's in taking a really important snap that if that play doesn't come off, yeah, you're so far behind it, it's really going to be. And he's just sitting there with a smile on his face, like, don't worry, yeah, I got it, it's all good. I'm having fun, it's great.
Yeah, he's something else. He's mobile. He's got a huge arm. He looks like he's leading that team as well for a young guy. So they are.
Chiefs are the same.
We'll see what we're saying
team.
about him in a year's time, because they always say it's the second year.
Yeah. This is effectively his rookie season.
Effectively, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here in a decade and this guy is what Aaron Rodgers is now.
He could be. He absolutely could be. He looks like it. As long as he doesn't get any bad injuries or and like that, he looks like the business.
Leaky defense, though. That's gonna. I think that's gonna cost them in the long run. But they're so close.
They will be gutted that the Earl Thomas thing happened, because he
I
could have really helped. Because he's not just a good player; he's also a leader, and that's what.
And if you got Eric Berry back, paired him up.
Yeah,
but Berry's got. Did we see what's up with him? He's got a deformed heel.
Yeah,
so it's like a bone splint that pushes into his Achilles. So no wonder that's sore as hell. Sounds sore as hell.
Yeah. The Broncos, I was just going to say that they'll never find a quarterback.
I've said this on a previous broadcast that the Broncos is a place where quarterbacks' careers go to die. And
they're playing better. They're playing better than I thought they were going to this season. They're not out of it. They're still 2-2. They're going to compete every week, and they're going to give teams games. That Lindsay and Foreman?
Yeah, Royce
Freeman, yeah. 1-2. Looks like they've sorted out the running back problem that they've had for the last few years, so that's looking decent for them as well. So trending the right way. Won't be this season, and yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they're a quarterback short of being right in the mix in the long run. So.
And with that, I think we're done for the latest episode of the American Football Cast. And my local radio voice has come back again.
You don't notice you do that. You do it on intro.
And outro.
But not in any other part of conversation.
No, maybe I just need to randomly introduce it as we discuss.
Now, William Shatner voice. Yeah. You're all over the place.
So last week Gav had his bye week. Next week I'm having a bye week, so you'll miss my hashtag banter.
It'll just be us two leading the charge, and then the week after that, I'm off.
Oh yeah, how dare you bastards!
I know. That's what
Some of us can afford holidays.
So I was suspended, and you guys get bye weeks. How is that even fair?
I run this show.
Must be because I'm the youngest.
The comic.
Are we going to rope in Hammy?
You're the youngest.
We
Piss off.
Am I not?
No, I've got about 4 years on you.
Well, shut up then.
These are both well younger than me, so that's
Old
fine.
man house rat.
We can give him a tap up and see if he's up for it.
That was probably a conversation to have not whilst we're recording.
Yeah,
this may already be cut out.
Find us in the usual place. Chat to us. Let us know what you think. If you think we're a rambling mess, let us know. If you think we're great, let us know.
Wait. If you think we're not a rambling mess, talk to us, because we already know we're a rambling mess.
we do get a few people who regularly contact us. Kevin Stu in particular, I hear a lot from them about what's going on. One thing that you guys probably don't know because it's not on Twitter. Stu's been able to start holding his own in conversations at work about NFL, it's because he listens to this. So that's
nice
actually
one.
quite cool to hear.
Yeah.
His
He's not
friends
listening.
probably think he's an idiot.
Why'd you listen to those guys? Hey, I was trying to pay everyone a compliment here, and we just shout all over ourselves like normal.
So for an insightful comment, follow the AFcast on Twitter, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.